Silent Team, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Simply Podcast. It has been a very long time, but we are back, and with a brand new YouTube channel as well. With this YouTube channel, the idea behind it was I was posting like podcast content and stuff like that on my own channel, but realistically, with that, what I was experiencing was a lot of mixed subscribers. Some of you loved going on the channel for podcast content, and some of you didn't. So the idea was we put all the content in one place for you, also you can all enjoy the content in the same place, and any clips and everything that I make will all be on this channel, and anything else that I do, live streams, gaming content, everything else will be on the Simply Spud channel. So that's a general idea. It also helps my other videos grow as well if I have subscribers that are on that channel specifically watch that. They're expecting that kind of content, so they're willing to click on it. So it kind of makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways to kind of help the podcast grow. But obviously, yet again, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Remy Rexington.
How are we doing today?
Yeah, I am. Oh, groovy.
Favorite word, love it.
Yeah, and indeed. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think I ever say groovy that much when I'm around you. I say groovy all the time.
I don't think you do.
I say groovy all the time.
Errol and I would use it quite often because of we're such massive Evil Dead fans. So it's like it's just a Bruce Campbell thing, synonymous.
Fair enough. Well, team, we got a few topics obviously to talk about today. But if you haven't already, make sure that you do subscribe. It is a brand new channel, so do hit the subscribe button, like the video as well if you can. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music or your Nance TV, make sure that you are also following the podcast on all those channels as well. I'm not actually sure how people follow a podcast on Nance TV, but it's something that I've been running for pretty much every podcast. So hit that follow button on your Nance TV.
Just have the stream on while you're Nance taking a nap.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
I do.
Rightio, team. So kind of topics that we're looking at kind of today. I mean, the first one, we're heading it straight off with a controversial topic, which is the Just Stop Oil. They've been in the news quite vividly over the last, to be honest, last year, really. They've been constantly.
Good use of the word vividly, because like the bright orange paint and stuff they keep doing.
I mean, yeah, it is vivid. Like the idea of that campaign is to, get noticed and get people talking about them, albeit it's been in very negative fashion most of the time. I mean, I think about 90% of the people in the UK can't stand them. There is that 10% obviously end up joining or actually understand in some ways why they're doing it. I mean, first, I think we all understand why they're doing it. I mean, they've got it written on their chest. But, it's like it's a topic. What are your thoughts on Just Stop Oil then, Remy?
I mean, talking about aiming high, I don't know about you, but a few edgy people that think they're morally superior than everyone else aren't going to topple down the $1 trillion industry of oil. It's just not going to happen. Like, I get it. You want to save the planet. Like, I recycle. Like, I recycle. I do my bit. I cycle places. I try not to take transport. Like, I try to source ethical meat and stuff. But I'm also not going to destroy people's livelihoods. Potentially kill people. Like, what if some people needing to get to a hospital? Like, I understand that you have a target there that you want to hit. Aim a bit lower, mate. And don't. If you want to get people on your side, don't ruin the everyday lives of the people that you're trying to see to get your message. And yes, I understand. You have to be controversial and you have to be loud and bombastic in today's media in order to get noticed. And this is a great way to get noticed, but you're going about it the wrong way and creating such a negative spin on it that nobody will ever listen to your point.
Right. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? I am, right?
I really
because the next question I'm going to ask is a really difficult one to answer, right? Because what I'm going to ask you, Remy, is what happens if we get 15 years down the line and we realise that they were actually on the right side of history? Because if you think of historic events back in, years ago, you think suffragettes, they were hated at the time, but in fairness, what they did was the right thing to do. So my question is, what happens in the 15, 20 years' time? We look back on this, and they're on the right side of history.
Like, I'll use your own example to explain why this is a very easy question to answer. Look at like suffragettes. How many people hated them? How many people were against them? Like, oh, this idea of women have a power. Oh no, like a built-in fear of society. Then, but here's the critical thing: from a future's perspective, can you understand why at the time the people were against it? A product of their time, and then as people become more advanced, and you look back and realize that suffragettes was a good thing. Like, what's the actual term? Like, women's suffrage, is that it?
I think so. I can't remember off the top of my head. Obviously,
yeah,
last time I've talked about this topic was high school, so it's a very long time ago.
So they're now looked at from a future perspective of being a beneficial thing. We may look back at Just Oil in years' time and think, oh, maybe they were right. They were right all along. But here's the thing: history doesn't care about your allegiances of the past. It's where you are at the current point in time. If they are right, then so be it. They are right. We were all befuddled and bamboozled by...
Here's the thing with it. I wouldn't necessarily say that they are wrong. I say more of the side that how they're doing it is wrong. Because what they're trying to do is, in many ways, like actually a good thing, but they're going about it the wrong way, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, the environment is an important thing. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if any of you guys are aware out there. We live on this big rock, traveling at what is it, like 150,000 miles per hour through the bloody cosmos. Like, we live on this thing. If we destroy it, we're kind of doomed. So we gotta try and balance this a little bit. They do have a point, but yous are so annoying. Just leave the average person alone.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're doing these disruptions on, like, so roads is I'm completely against this, should add. Like doing the roads part, I mean, you're actually being counterproductive because you're keeping cars running on the road, which is burning more oil.
Idling is worse for emissions
exactly
than
that
driving.
Point I do not get in the slightest. The likes of vandalizing buildings, I mean, if I'm being honest, like, actually, I don't actually care that much about that, if I'm being fully honest.
I don't really care much about the buildings and stuff. Like, that's just civil disobedience. That's been a staple of protesting for centuries.
Exactly that. The sport events, I am against.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're
not special. You're just ruining a good time for everyone there. Like, do you see when they did it on the snooker? For the snooker, the guy just getting up and emptying the dust everywhere. So, like, you can't clear that up. Like, that they're just done for the day. Everybody who spent money, like, I don't know if they'll get their money back. Like, I'm assuming they will, or maybe there will be some kind of loophole, insurance, blah blah blah. You know what way these kind of things work. But it is not worth, because a lot of these people, like, sports is it's an escape for a lot of people. It's an escape for myself. Like, you go to the pub, you go to the stadium, or like, or whatever, wherever you consume your football. It's an escape from the world around you. Like, that's why it's the beautiful game. Don't take that away from people. You will never win anybody over by taking away one of the few things that actually helps us escape. Like, vandalize buildings if you want. I'm not condoning it for legal reasons, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I don't condone that kind of behavior, but I can understand it from a historical point of view. It's a very important and powerful part of protesting. It's been used for a very long time. Leave sports and leave the roads alone. You're not... People can understand the vandalism, but they will never understand, like, ruining people's everyday lives. That it'll never successfully win.
Yeah, it's counterproductive in so many ways as well, doing it. Cause realistically, you're just not getting people. Realistically, you want as many people on your side as you can possibly get, because that's kind of the nature of how things actually end up getting changed, is the fact that more and more people start joining you, and eventually you can't ignore it. So it's kind of, yeah, realistically, the way they're going about it is where the biggest issue is. I mean, God, oh my God, gluing themselves to pavements and stuff like that. I mean,
so stupid.
it's guess what's in glue? Oil. Like, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of the stuff to do. It just seems counterproductive. It just seems...
those Air Max you're wearing seem to be ethically sourced.
Oh, dearie me. It's just, I get what I mean. Everyone gets what they're trying to do. Everyone gets it. It's just ridiculous.
Why is it always the environmental activists that are the most annoying? Have you not noticed? Like, think about it.
Yeah.
Anytime all of this stuff happens, like strictly speaking, environmental activists have been committing terrorist acts across the globe for the last 20 odd years, like targeting pipelines and so, like committing terrorist acts. And like, this is the extreme of what this stuff can lead to. Like, we're only seeing like the lighter side of it in the local media. We don't know like what's going on everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they're maybe doing these things, that they feel like extreme acts is what's needed to get an extreme response, but it's not what's actually really happening. It's actually getting, it's turning people the other way, which is...
Because there are a lot of people that disagree with violence and the use of violence. And I'm not against the use of violence in protesting. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, like a lot of it, like untold horse. Like he was a violent man, not necessarily like against like people on his side, but like he took part in a lot of protests. But we remember him favorably. Like Mahatma Gandhi, like he was one of the more famous peaceful protesters, but he wasn't always peaceful.
I would like to point out as well. I mean, this is going to be a slightly controversial thing I'm bringing up. They've only really done these things in countries that they feel like they can get away with it. They haven't done it in Scotland.
They haven't done it here.
Yeah, they haven't done it in Belfast.
We were talking about this the other day. Oh my God! Like I'm sorry to say this, but the people of England, why are you putting up with this?
Yeah.
Like, see if this happened like on my way to work in Belfast city centre. You're getting leathered. Maybe not by me, but some angry fella on his way to a building site. I used to be one of them. I'm glad I'm not in that industry anymore, though. Like, you would get like, not even just by like the men in construction, like the women going like to some of the offices, like the shops around town. They'll punch you too. Like this stuff doesn't fly over here. Like this, it'll be the same thing in Scotland. You just get punched.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it was like, I mean, I should add, we don't condone violence of any sorts, but Glasgow itself was named the friendliest and the most dangerous city in the world at one point. So, like, they'll stab you with a smile, you know? It's kind of, so it's kind of, they've been very selective on where they've done it. Cause
it's like Belfast, you have to make an appointment to get a punishment bait.
It's been... Yeah, they've just been very selective of the environments in which they did it. I mean, oh my God, do you imagine if they did it on an Old Firm game?
I would genuinely fear for their safety.
Yeah, I 100% would. And it's... I mean, I know full well what they'll be on Twitter as well. Never mind that, like, the topic that they're trying to raise issues with. The topic would be, I can't believe he's taking a ticket from a fan. That would be because you can't get a ticket for an Old Firm game, so they'd be like, "Oh, how's he got a ticket?" That's what the topic would be, and it's like, oh my God, I just unfortunately know exactly what Twitter would be going on about. With this,
it's really that hard to get an Old Firm ticket.
Oh, it's really difficult, really difficult. I mean, for example, with the I usually use the example of the Rangers Stadium because that one I know a little bit better because you can see it on camera straight away. They shorten the away end as much as possible. Like I think it's only like 700 fans get in and the Rangers away end.
Why?
Because they want more home fans. So it's really difficult. I mean, and then Celtic responded by doing the exact same thing. So, but every other team going there, you can get like I think Hearts took 3,000 one to their way in, but they shorten it for the Old Firm. It's just petty stuff, really, at this point. But they do stuff like that, and then they make it's really, really difficult to get an Old Firm ticket. It really is. It's not so bad when they go to Hampden, because that's not so bad. When they're playing at Hampden, it's a bit easier, but when they're playing at Ibrox or Parkhead, it's near on impossible. So yeah, obviously, yeah, we're. I feel like we will maybe move on from for Just Stop Oil, because realistically, it's
there's only so much you can say on a good idea executed poorly.
Yeah, like it's still in the back of my mind in some ways of like what happens if we look back so many years if they were on the right side of history, but it's hard to say that now with the kind of things that they're trying to do. I mean, I think their message is what will be remembered. Well, no, I don't think it's their message that will be remembered. I think it's their actions, how they've done things that will be remembered, and that's where the issue is. I mean, I know full well, but you see suffragettes, for example. The first incident that comes into my mind is that woman that jumped in front of the horse. That's the first incident that comes to mind. Is like, I think if like any incident, never mind the protests, that's the one that I think of, and so people will remember these guys for gluing themselves to roads and stopping ambulances and stopping people going to work, more than what they will the actual message. So it's.
What do you reckon would hurt more, throwing yourself in front of a horse or throwing yourself in front of a car? Like if they're both traveling at the same speed, let's say like 20 miles.
That is a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
Because then we get into the technicalities. Oh, what about the type of car and stuff like that? And then
okay, let's just say like Ford Focus, something like, or like a Volkswagen Golf, something like just small, like roughly the same weight as a horse.
Yeah,
because horses are heavy.
Yeah,
because if you think about it, a car hits you. If it hits you at like the right angle, you're gonna go on
over it.
The hood, and you're gonna go over it. But if a horse hits you, you're going to the ground and you're getting trampled.
Trampled to potentially have the horse fall on you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's much more dangerous to jump in front of a horse.
Yeah.
Well, suffragettes were more courageous. Tell you.
Yeah.
Think about it. Just Stop Oil.
Like
nobody watches the horse
again. I feel like we need to say we do not condone these actions.
No, we don't.
But for hypothetical sakes, we discuss them. So
yeah,
yeah, probably horse. But yes. Okay, we'll move on to kind of next topic, which obviously we're kind of talking about social media and stuff like that. Something that has been rife in like YouTube and Twitter of late is big YouTubers basically doing reaction content. Now, the reason why this has been in a hot topic of late is a lot of people are saying that they are stealing views from the original creator of these content. I mean, you see a lot of reaction channels. You see the Sidemen Reacts. You see like the XQC doing reactions on his streams and stuff like that. And you see, I mean, there's some people that have got like 50 million subscribers with just reactions videos, and it's raised a lot of questions on the sense of, yes, I mean, you could look at it from the point of view for copyright sakes. They can't be done for copyright if the content is seen as transformative, but it's very, very questionable on a lot of it, because sometimes they're just watching it. Sometimes they're just like, if I go into an XQC stream, normally I just see him like there was a time he was watching what was it, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares on Twitch, but it was on YouTube, so you could watch it. So it was, but he wasn't reacting in any ways. He wasn't necessarily reacting. He was just kind of. I swear to God, it was exactly like this. He was watching it and just looking over the chat. That was it. That was the whole content. And he might argue that's transformative.
That's not transformative.
But that's not.
That's stealing content.
Exactly. I mean,
see, I think there is a very clear line of where, to paraphrase or use a parable, like where a line in the sand needs to be drawn between this. this is down to YouTube, whoever, because you have to like obviously like look through this. If you place a copyright strike in for like stealing content or whatever the case may be, people have to go and review this. So when you're reviewing it, it is on those people to like, okay, this person is just watching it. This person is taking it, creating their own jokes from it. They're laughing, they're pausing it, dissecting it. That is transformative content. That is taking content and arguably making it better. And that, so I don't think then they're stealing views from you. If your content was better, you would have got the views, mate. It's a harsh, it's kind of harsh, but there's a reason why these people have built such large platforms. The example you use for XQC, I do think that is stealing content.
Yeah.
That to me is stealing content.
Yeah, I get it completely. It's like one of the videos he was watching had like 17k views, and then the video that he made, even though it was just him reacting, got something like 500k views. So, and just from a monetization point of view, obviously XQC is earning significantly more on that video than what the original creator of it was. That's where it gets. Now, I think for the likes of when you think of like Sidemen React, for example, I think that's reactions done correctly because
that's one of the ones I do use.
Yeah, exactly. That's I think they have like a panel that kind of discuss what's going on. They make the content in many ways better, and I think they also always link the video as well. I think
the content isn't always like the main focus on the screen, because sometimes like you just have like them, the perspective of them, all the cameras on it. Sometimes you're not even seeing it; they're just talking about it. Yeah, that is transformative content. That is good reaction content.
100%, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of people that stream reaction content, and like, don't get me wrong, there is definitely a market on YouTube for reaction channels, in the sense of channels that create content to be reacted to. There's definitely a market for that. And in some incidents, there is channels that have blown up because of reaction content, because of the content they've made has then, snowballed, and they've been able to make extra stuff. I mean, you look at the point of view of, personally, I would never watch it, but there's like, you remember obviously the period of time when there was the diss tracks, and the amount of people that were doing reactions to the diss track.
Yeah. Like,
personally, it's not something I would watch, but that is, again...
Don't get me wrong, I watched the one of JJ and Randolph reacting to Digis. Because I found that, because of the whole like bank statement things, like that's what actually started off the whole like family thing, because his parents allowed Digi into his personal accounts, because like his mom's the one like, so yeah, like for that stuff. But in general, no, I don't care what some pasty people on YouTube have to say in a rap battle while they're getting everybody else to write their lyrics for them. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the I quite like that period of YouTube, because it was good. And in fairness, I liked the
buzzing.
I liked the reaction from the people that the song was about. Those are the only ones I actually like. Any other ones, I was like, I'm not watching that. I mean, unless it was the people that were involved, I didn't really care too much about it. I mean, personally, I don't watch a huge amount of reaction content. It's not really something that I personally enjoy too much. I do get people that like it because it can be an easy watch in many ways.
See, I don't think like the stuff I watch is technically reaction content. The only like true reaction content that I would watch would be the Sidemen Reacts. But there's another one. There's a channel called like How to Drink. So it's like one of the ones I was watching, like, so is reaction to making all the different meads from Skyrim. So like he was showing you how he makes it, and then he was tasting it and reacting to it, like that kind of like reacting to things rather than like content. Like that would be the style that I would watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that you just kind of said there, kind of actually opened up something else that I was actually thinking there. There just a lot of videos on like TikTok and stuff like that. They're like, let's say the only one I can think of at the top of my head is the likes of Italian cooking. because Italian cooking has a lot of
Cheese.
well, it's a lot of debate. So, say for example, when people snap spaghetti, that raises a lot of people's questioning. Is like, oh, you should never.
That's not a debate. You just don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You grab, twist, and into the bowl so that it creates a look.
yeah. Like
little
cooking is one in particular that I actually think reaction content actually makes it usually a lot better, particularly those that.
I do like Uncle Nigel.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
What, you were worried I was going to do the accent?
No.
Don't worry.
I don't
No,
know.
I don't condone that.
Yeah. Wait, is it not Uncle Roger?
Oh, Uncle Roger. Nigel is what? It's Nigel Nying, or I can't pronounce his surname, but yeah, it's Uncle Roger, but his real name's Nigel.
Yeah, he's really good at Venice. Yeah,
He's hilarious.
Yeah, Venice. He's actually a comedian as well. Like his actual like trade is a comedian.
Did
So
you watch his High Out special?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Bloody hilarious. I don't think you can anymore. I don't think it's on sale anymore. You just put it up as a one-time thing.
Oh well, his content is really really good because obviously he debates the correct way of doing like Asian dishes and says what they should be using if they've done it correctly. Like that's actually quite good because that's in some ways is educational, but it is also like that is probably the definition of transformative content.
Like it's expanded, like because like like I used to be a chef. It's made me even better at cooking because like I love eating Southeast Asian food, but I never really made it. Like so like now I would make a lot of curries and stuff like that, like authentic style curries. But like there's ingredients that I never used before, like a shrimp paste, galangal, MSG. Like I never used to use these things, and they are amazing for cooking. So it is highly educational if you have any kind of incline to like pick up a spatch in a saucepan.
Nice. I mean, it's made me want to also make ramen properly, like use like bone broth and stuff like that, and like do it like from scratch. I mean, I always say I'm going to do it, and then it's one of those where I just never get the time to do it. So everyone knows that. So yeah. As team, let us know in the comments stuff like what were your thoughts on reaction channels. I mean, do you personally watch them a lot yourself? Do you think that they're good content? I mean, there's also debate about how much effort really they actually take to make. Like some people say they actually take a lot of effort because it's all...
I would say the Sadman reaction one, that would take a lot of effort to react to because you have to think about like how many perspective changes and how many effects and stuff like that that they go into it. And then like sometimes when they do that like sad piano music and you have like the grayed out video from the past that they're like it takes a lot of editing to do that kind of thing. If you're just sitting there,
you got to think
like
that
XQC
editing side of thing is really from the editor's perspective, not necessarily from the people reacting.
Well, no, it's still... Is editing a part of creating that content?
I mean, it absolutely is. Absolutely.
Then it is difficult content. It can be hard content to make.
Yeah.
If editing is a part of the content process, though, let's call them, like, for lack of a better term, the actors or like the people who are actively creating the content, they may not be doing the editing. I do believe like some of them do edit though. Because I know like Harry, that's actually something he likes to do. He loves to edit people's videos.
Yeah.
Because he's a smashing editor. But it's hard content to make. You can't take it away from the people doing it.
No, you know what? I can completely understand that. There is a debate on it, and I mean, in fairness, I think the main debate comes from those that stream it. I think that's where the debate comes is like the XQC. XQC, I should add, I'm not hating on XQC. It's just the one that I know of that does a lot of reactions on stream.
Here's the thing: when you're live streaming it, who's to say like, oh, I want to go make myself a cup of tea or go to the toilet? You just leave the content on. Then you're just streaming somebody else's content.
Well, this is the
you can't say that won't happen.
This is one of the
does.
arguments for reaction content, right? So, particularly streaming it, the reason why people say that it is a good thing for streaming is because, typically speaking, if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, if you're whatever platform you're streaming, you have a very limited window to hook that viewer. And what reaction content does is, typically speaking, when you jump into that stream, within a couple of seconds, you know what's going on, and you immediately then know what kind of content you're going to expect. Realistically, it's not like one of these where you've missed a load beforehand.
I don't know. I think it's cheap. I think it's cheap to stream.
Yeah, I get it. I get it completely. But
because looking at it from like, because we you stream and I would be on with you quite often. But when we're streaming, there's a lot of actual effort and mental process that goes into. Because don't forget, you also have to censor yourself. You could be the nicest person in the world, but there's still some level of censoring that you have to do. Especially for people like us that typically just blurt out jokes, it can be very exhausting.
Yeah.
Just sitting there and watching content kind of takes away from streaming itself and belittles it a little bit, in my opinion.
No, I get it. I get exactly what you're saying on that one, and it's an interesting one. Is because the side of I used reaction videos a little bit when I was doing the charity stream during the periods in which I knew full well I didn't have many viewers and I wanted a slight break from Halo. So I used reaction then content there to just kind of fill the gaps a little bit. Just until I knew I had more people on and more people were engaging. So I used it that way. That's the only way that I've ever used kind of reaction content myself. Personally, I mean, would I ever do it myself? I think realistically, the game's the game. At the end of the day, if there's clear demand for it, then you're almost a fool not to do it. It's whether or not the rules, if it's within the rules. To be honest, if YouTube keep it within the guidelines that you can still do it, people are always going to do it. If they change the rules and say, actually, no, that any reaction content you do has to be substantially transformative, so you can't just be there commenting on it every 2 seconds. You've got to actually, add extra value to, and what will constitute that is very grey area. Cause,
I don't think it's that grey.
Well, it's opinion based, which makes it grey.
I think you can make it objective though, because if you use the Sidemen reaction, who were the ones that tried to trademark React? Is it Fine Bros?
I have no idea. Maybe. It does sound familiar.
Teens react, old people react, all that stuff. I think it might be the Fine Bros. They tried to trademark it years ago, but they got laughed away. Where it's almost like you're interviewing someone on reacting to this content.
Okay.
The Sidemen reacts do that, but in an immediate fashion. So they're instead of having a person interviewing, one of them will pause it and oh, but what do you think about this? Why would you do that? They would talk about it. That to me is the baseline of transformative content. You can't just sit and have it playing. I knocked my camera. I'm very sorry about that. That was stupid. You can't just sit there and keep it playing and laugh at it and say, oh yeah, that was funny. This, that, and the other. You have to actively make an effort somewhere in the process that is visibly recognizable to the reviewer, because the reviewer is not a content creator. They're not going to know the grey area of what is transformative content. They just have to look at this from a fact-based thing. Are you stealing content, or are you transforming it and making new content from it? It's on the content creator, not the side of YouTube. So if YouTube put in these regulations and you fail to meet them, that's on you. The game is the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Yeah, 100%. Because in the day, if they allow it, then and you're getting success with it, realistically, it's not your fault if you're using the system to your advantage in that way. No, I completely understand. I mean, kind of looking at my own content wise, I mean, I thought about whether or not making reaction. I mean, at the moment, I had to make sure I'm uploading videos, which I think the last video I uploaded was about 2 weeks ago. But we're getting there. We're recording now.
We're coming back. We're coming back.
Yeah.
You're going to play some Halo.
Oh, don't even ask us how long the last podcast was.
I actually checked. 4 months.
4 months. I mean, fair, it's a lot has happened.
Wait, no, it's either 4 or 2. It's either 4 or 2. But we've both went through a lot of stuff in that period of time. So there was a reason.
I think 2 sounds more like it. I think 4 months is maybe a bit long. For Because that would take us what, February? Oh, no, not February. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, that would take us what, April? Oh, maybe actually, maybe. Potentially, but yeah. Regardless, we're back now anyway. With this channel, and obviously with the content I'm doing on the other channel, obviously I'm still going to be continuing to do as much Halo content as I can. I mean, I should add, I still get people coming up to me all the time on the streams and that, saying, "Why the hell are you doing Halo content? Right, the game's dead." People keep coming up to me and say that, and this is the thing what a lot of content creators don't understand. When it comes to creating content, I have seen some moderate success with Halo, right? Moderate, not massive, but some. Basically, when I started doing
thousands of views on shorts, like thousands of views on shorts.
I mean,
you can't not look at that and think to yourself, oh yeah, no, like that's not really what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try this other thing that I don't know is going to get views. This is getting views. This is getting traction consistently.
And this is the thing that a lot of content creators don't understand, because everyone thinks immediately, and I should add, you should always do this when you first start. You should always choose a game that's got a big audience at the start.
For me, it's going to be Skyrim when I start streaming.
Yeah, Skyrim's got a massive audience, and like stuff like Warzone and stuff like that. Stream that to kind of get the mannerisms right, get used to being on camera, get used to streaming, get that stuff right, and do that with a big game. But when you're actually wanting to make success, you niche down. You go to something that has got a smaller audience, or there is clear demand for, but not enough kind of stuff produced, which at the moment is actually Halo, because a lot of content creators have stepped away. But
well, here's a very good question for you, though. Based on, like I was saying about the niche, would you rather have a massive audience, but you only could do the one thing, like that's your thing? Like a prime example, the Running Man Z. I love him to bits. Like every other 6 months, he'll play something different for like a sponsored stream, but it's always Daisy. It's always Daisy. Like to that level of niche, and he has like between 3,000 and 4,000 like concurrent viewers. Or would you rather have a smaller audience, like say like between 800 to like 1,200 viewers, but you played a wide range of games, like Ezekiel the third? Love his content. Like he's well known for his Indie Sundays.
I think from what you've said there, I would rather the smaller niche, because from what you've said there, that's enough to live on. That I could go through, like from that.
Well, it must be, because it's what he does.
Exactly, yeah. So I could live off that content, and it's a variety, and I could do it. Now, this is the thing with where I was saying about the niching down. If you're wanting, see, like this is the strategy a lot of people do not get, but it is proven to work. If you're wanting to become, say, a big Warzone streamer, you want to become a big, FIFA content creator or something like that, then you can make content on these. You can, but I
think I know what you're going to say.
You're fighting
you have to
against.
Enjoy it.
Well, no.
Oh, okay, never mind.
You're fighting against everyone at the start. You're fighting against everyone. You're fighting about all the big ones. This is why I say niche down. Get loyal viewers, loyal audience first in one niche, and typically speaking, you'll notice a lot of them will follow you regardless of the content you make. If you're then going to then say, actually, you know what, I really enjoy playing Warzone, I'm going to start making content on that. Typically speaking, you've already got a loyal base that are going to follow you to that content, and you've basically at that point got a head start on everyone else in that base, and therefore that will help boost your videos into a wider audience. So now you're in a space where there's massive audience, and you've already got 2K views at the start of a video because you have that loyal base. Okay, yes, in your niche you might be hitting like 30 or 40k, but you're now going into a different space where there's a bigger audience, bigger appetite for that content, and now you've already got a head start as opposed to starting from scratch at 10 views, 20 views, which would take you a very, 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 very long time to get up. Basically.
So is Halo not your end game for what you end up want to be making content on? Is this your Is this not your niche?
So this is part of the strategy that I came up with when I decided to move to Halo. The idea was I would do Halo because that's the niche, and if I could find success with that, great. But I think the end goal for me was just to find a way to do content full time. If that means I go back to FIFA, say in, I don't know, 8 months' time, then I do that. But I want to create a loyal fan base, a loyal base for people that are there for me rather than just the game that I'm playing. And that's where, and that would then give me a head start for going to say the likes of any other game that I go to, because at that point, if people are there for you, they'll watch. Usually with those ones, they'll pretty much watch anything that you'll do. So that's the idea. That's the strategy.
And don't forget, if you guys want to watch any of these videos that we're talking about, Simply Spud, don't forget to like and subscribe, and click that wee notification bell icon to get the link below.
Yes, ding dong that bell, as they say. I mean, that's the kind of the strategy at the moment. And in fairness, with Halo at the moment, I was talking about this with yourself just off camera. We were talking about how this. I'm going to be making a video on this, so make sure that you are subscribed for this, because the video that I've recorded, there's actually been some new information that I need to now add to the video, which I didn't have before. But the narrative of Halo for the last little period has been the fact that it's been a dead game. It's in the gutter. They always talk about the Steam numbers. They always talk about the Steam numbers. They never talk about the Xbox numbers, because that is where the majority of people are. This is where the majority of people play the game, is on Xbox.
Also, you need to consider Steam isn't counting me as a player. I play through the Xbox PC app when I play it.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't count those.
Yeah, they don't. Like, people are never counting, and you know what? It gets a click when they create these news articles about.
If it's a dead game, then why did who were playing last night? I think it was Optic and Sentinels were playing last night. I can't remember who was playing, but I was watching it. 18,000 people watching, rose to like 22. By the way, if it's a dead game, why is the esports getting such traction?
I should add that was diluted a little bit because a lot of big content creators were streaming it as well. So that was like, I just know from like Uber Nick, for example, he was on like 500 concurrent viewers himself. Well, basically, I mean, this is where
I love hearing a streamer that has an accent from the country I'm from.
Yeah,
being from the north, it's such a regional accent that we have up here. You don't hear it a lot.
Yeah,
I would love to play a game with him. Just to, ask him, like, are you from Lurgan?
I mean, this is the thing where I was kind of talking about the other day. There's really not many Scottish content creators, which is actually quite an advantage for myself.
I can only think of one, like obviously other than yourself. Let me see anyone I can think of.
Okay, there's Lemmy, but there is also Marley 13.
Don't know that one.
He was more known for like old Modern Warfare 2 videos, but he's about, there's really not many, and it gives me also an advantage in some ways, because that's what makes me different from a lot of other content creators as well, is because the fact that I am actually Scottish, so it kind of gives me an advantage there. But yeah, as we were saying with Halo, obviously, I mean, we said from the very, very, like, pretty much since launch, more or less, we've been saying that this game needs content. They have made a good game. They need to back it up. And for pretty much, I mean, would you say pretty much the first year was very, very lackluster?
Yeah, it was so dead.
Yeah, was it even a second? Did the second season even come out in the first year?
No, because the first season took 7 months. 7 months to come out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so long.
Or it was a couple of months wait. I think it was a couple of months wait before the first season came out, and then it was a 7-month wait between season 1 and season 2. That is not acceptable. Like, I don't think anyone even Andy, I don't think anyone disagreed with me about what I said during you remember the closed play testing?
I think so, yeah.
Like, because when I was playing that, I said the same thing. I love this so much. Like, I love the gameplay. It looks and feels like Halo. And I never said that this will be amazing. Like, this has the potential to be the best Halo. It just does. For me, it has the best gameplay of all the Halos. It just feels. It feels like I'm playing like a mashup of Halo 2's sort of like precision, Halo 3's like attitude, and Halo 1's nostalgia. It feels distinctly Halo from all aspects of it, and they did that right. When we're faulting, when we are giving fault to 343, we need to remember that there are still real people behind these games. Like, don't target these people. These are real people with real lives. Leave them alone. But 2, you have to be open to fair criticism, and you released a game with no content.
I mean, in my opinion, with when it comes to FIFA, it's not the people that made it; it's the people that managed it that were the issue.
Well, it does say that don't target.
Exactly, yeah. It was them. It was them that were the issue in regards to this. But in fairness, I think when Microsoft started doing all those layoffs and stuff like that, I mean, we've seen significantly more content come out when they laid off people. So clearly, that's been a big impact in the sense of, like, you know, the drive to make sure content is coming out. I mean, I think I said in the recording, you know, what is in the future of Halo, I haven't got a clue. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it's going to be in 343's hands going forward. It's a whether or not they look at, you know, Unreal Engine 5, whether or not they look at likes of you know, outsourcing it.
That's already been already been confirmed. Yeah, like for Halo moving on will be on the UE. I might have seen that somewhere wrong, because I definitely know the Coalition are using it for the next installment of Gears. Like after the turbulent launch in first year and a half of Halo Infinite, we can all remember how exciting that was. Like, they've made a decision to step away from, I believe it's called the Slipspace engine.
Oh yeah, actually, you know what? I know exactly what you're on about. Yeah, because there wasn't enough people that knew how to code it.
Yeah,
and that was the issue. Yeah, no, I
think it's going to be on UE5, which I'm okay with.
Yes,
I'm like, it works. To want to quote Todd Howard here, it just works.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, I don't know what the future of Halo holds, but I did say as well in the video that I am actually optimistic for the future of Halo Infinite.
I can't tell you what it does hold for me. Do you remember I kept saying to you for a long time, it's like, there's not enough there for me to jump back in. I'm getting intrigued. Yeah, that thing you and I played the other day of the some classic maps from old Halos redone in Forge.
Yeah,
whoever put that in, you are a genius. We have been talking about this for so long, just like redo the old maps in Forge. Like, you and I have genuinely been discussing this for such a long time, and lo and behold, we were right. It wasn't like Infection, because it doesn't really feel like real Infection to me. It doesn't.
I think it's alright to play every now and then. I don't think I would do really long sessions on.
I think the custom game versions were better, like cookies.
Yeah,
much better for me. But like all the new maps with the like, I don't think a new season has started, but I seen something there. Like a new maps are coming out soon.
Oh yeah, so
they're releasing new maps during the seasonal cycle.
Yeah,
that is good. Like,
yeah, they didn't do this for the first year. In fact, the first pretty much year and a half they didn't do any outside of the season launches.
And it may be slow progress, but progress is progress nonetheless. And I did say, I have always repeated this, like, if Halo gets into a state again where it looks like it's actually going to be worth my time playing, I will come back, and I'm very intrigued. The
squad battle playlist was one of the best things they could have added. I mean, I also said in the recording, if you're looking for an authentic Halo experience, something that actually will remind you of even Halo Reach, Halo 3 days of playing the game, you know, that playlist is as authentic as you can get to modern Halo. Now I'm going to ask you something as well, Remy. Just it's a little bit different in the sense of the Halos, right? So I was watching a video the other day, and I really didn't know if I agreed or completely disagreed with it. It's really grey area, right? Now, the guy was saying one of the biggest issues with Halo was the gameplay, right? Now, what he meant by this, right, was that he was talking in the perspective of esports, and then he brought up some other games in esports and said for the fact that to create a good esport, you need tension. You need to create tension in the game. And the examples he showed me, this is where I really didn't know if I agreed or not, right? He showed me clips of kind of like slow but kind of slow gameplay, basically, like where basically people are edging, trying to get the advantage over the other, right? But then he showed examples of Halo esports, and it's at an extremely high pace, which he then tried to argue and say, because it is at an extremely high pace, it is difficult to create tension in the game, which I can get his perspective, but I don't agree with him that.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't. You're probably aware. Andy is very much aware. I love esports. I have done for years. It's especially when it comes to Halo. Like, I've watched enough Halo esports to know that it is very intense. And you want to go back to the original esports? Look at Doom, Quake, fast pace, high octane. Halo is an arena. Like, yes, it's a sandbox shooter, but it is an arena sandbox shooters. All arena esports are extreme. Look at Quake Champions, another example of an arena shooter. CS:GO, CS:GO can be very high, very high pace, so it can, but it can also be slower. It depends on the players. Like, you clearly miss the entire point of Halo esports. If the gameplay isn't good for an esport, why is the esport doing so well? Not just in terms of like for the players, for the revenue and stuff like that, and the advertising deals, but the concurrent viewership of Halo Infinite shoots up by thousands, like thousands upon thousands, because it's not just like Xbox and IGN places that will stream this. Like, content creators stream this as well, so there's, like, as you said earlier, siphoning off the views from like the companies that own these things, like Xbox's own page, Halo's own page. All of these views are coming in for the same reason. You can't ignore statistics. You can have an opinion on it. Your opinion's wrong, but you can have an opinion on it that everyone is entitled to. But that doesn't mean you can look at Halo from the perspective of other esports that aren't the same style. Like, Hearthstone esport, that can be incredibly high paced, but you're not going to compare that to an FPS game.
I think the ones, I think he used two esports. One was a CS:GO, which I kind of got. This is where I kind of got this, but because CS:GO esport, typically speaking, where we're seeing slower pace, it's people edging around boxes, trying to like view around corners, and that's where it creates tension in that side. Because it is, typically speaking, I would say yes, it is slower pace CS:GO.
Yeah, but there is a very big difference between CS:GO slow pace and Halo slow pace. So the entire point of so yes, both games require map knowledge, but the other thing that Halo requires is sandbox knowledge. So you have to know where your team is, like, and you can see your teammates with the outline. You have to know where they are without looking at them, because let's not forget, you don't have a radar in competitive Halo. You have to anticipate where the enemy is going to be. That's why you don't see the creeping around the box. The creeping around the box in CS:GO is because you don't know where the enemy is. There's so many different strategies, but you have to anticipate in Halo. Like, it's not like it's not like in a Twitch shooter where whoever reacts first. No, it's whoever reacts better wins. That's why it doesn't matter about being slow. It's the anticipation of that action and how you react to somebody like rocketing around a corner, grappling in with a sword. Like, you have to anticipate all of these outcomes. It is a very demanding esport. That's why Halo's slow pace is very different to CS:GO's slow pace. When I say CS:GO can be fast paced, it can be fast paced for a CS:GO style shooter. It can.
Here's a hard question for you.
All right.
What's got a bigger skill gap, CS:GO or Halo? Without trying to piss off everyone.
I don't think it'll piss people. I think it'll piss people off who prefer one or the other. Now, I've played both. I love both. Personally, I'm a Halo fan, but I would say Halo has a higher skill gap because of the sandbox, the weapons in that sandbox, the abilities. Like grenades, yes, like you have your flash, your smoke, your frag, whatever in CS. But the grenades are so dynamic in Halo. It requires more knowledge. Like in terms of like the personal like player skill, not of like having game knowledge itself. I would say CS:GO has a higher skill gap in that sense because obviously one shot can kill you. Like you're not going to get that in Halo. It has a much higher TTK than CS:GO. So fair enough. CS:GO has a higher skill gap for PC players. Well, esports is no actually because Halo is done with a controller. Competitive.
Yes.
I don't know if they've changed that. Like Halo,
as far as I'm aware, it's still controller.
Yeah.
I mean, my own view on it is, I mean, take a pinch of salt. Take what I say with a pinch of salt because I haven't played CS:GO. I've only ever watched it.
You've played with Andy and I.
Not CS:GO, no.
I'm 90% certain
I've never. The thing is, I've never downloaded the game, so that's how I know I've never played it. I tried Valorant, but I've never tried CS:GO.
Valorant is a mix of CS and Overwatch, and Overwatch is a much better game in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I should add the same video. He brought up Overwatch and said that Overwatch esports is awful.
It's awfully toxic, but it's not awful. So, from the basis of his description of Halo, this is somebody who thinks that CS:GO is the pinnacle of esports. Some people might think it's CS:GO. Some people might think it's League of Legends, Dota, Halo, Overwatch.
I mean, that was my initial thought. I would have said probably League of Legends. I think if you were looking for the pinnacle of esports, you're looking at whatever gives the biggest prize money.
Well, I was more so meaning pinnacle in terms of your personal preference, like in that sense. And if you're talking in sheer ad revenue and prize money, League of Legends wins it by a landslide.
Yeah,
maybe Dota. Actually, Dota 2 is.
It's so weird, League of Legends and Dota, because I look at them and they just look so similar.
That's because they're both MOBAs.
Yeah, it's.
I think the only MOBA that actually makes a genuine difference to be different is Smite.
Okay, yeah, actually, you know what? I did play Smite a little bit. I didn't mind Smite.
I haven't played it, but I've been very intrigued because one of my friends plays it quite a lot.
I played it because Ben used to play it a lot, and I got involved in that. And you know what? It wasn't bad. I liked the kind of third person view of it, rather than the map view.
Yeah.
That's what I particularly liked about it. But each their own at the end of the day. But yeah, personally, I would say Halo is the bigger skill gap. I mean, just with the fact that it uses controller alone, the timing that you have to do is harder to do, in my opinion, than using a mouse.
Yeah.
So particularly when you try to hit headshots, if you've got the sniper, I think it's harder to do on a controller than it is to do on a mouse.
Do you think there's more latency in a controller?
I would say so. You've got more travel time.
Yeah.
So you think of it
if you're using the Elite 2, like you can set it like.
I think regardless, it will always be more latency with a controller than a mouse. I think mice are just designed to be such low latency nowadays that like I don't think any controller could really ever like match it. I might be wrong. I might be wrong on that. I don't have the full knowledge, but I personally think it's the skill gap. But just even for the way that the esports work with controller and mouse, I'd say it's harder on Halo because of the controller, because it's harder to aim than it is with a mouse. That being said, obviously, I think if the esports was to move over to keyboard and mouse, I could maybe make an argument to say that CS:GO players maybe have a higher skill gap in some ways. But I don't know if that's also necessarily due to the player base. CS:GO has got a humongous player base.
Yeah.
So it is harder to get into the esports in many ways because of the amount of players that you have to compete against. So this is where it gets difficult to decide how it does. But my initial reaction was Halo.
I would agree with Halo.
Yeah.
On a broader scale, Halo has a higher skill gap because there's just so much more to it. Yeah, and you can't really. That's more of an objective. Like subjective, I wouldn't say either. Subjectively, I would say Overwatch. I love Overwatch. I think there's just so much to the gameplay of that.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I mean, it's I think. Well, yeah, I think we'll move on from that topic now. I think we're going to go to the last part of the podcast. This is the part of the podcast in which I give very full control, which is means that here he could ask me anything, and we'll try our best to answer. And obviously, the questions that he's asking are obviously for yourselves as well to see what your responses are. Make sure you leave them in the comments for this. But yes, we are on to Remy's queries. So today, Remy, what is your query?
Right, so my query for today, and it's more of a philosophical one that'll kind of make you think about what way you view and value life. Would you rather live the rest of your life in reality, you're aware that this is reality, or would you rather live the rest of your life in the Matrix? And in both circumstances, you're aware that you're not in the other. You're aware that the other exists. So you're aware that there's this like machine-created place where if you know how to bend the rules, you can essentially be a god and you can do whatever you want. Or would you rather live here?
Okay, yeah, I think I understand the question. I mean, my initial reaction immediately was living here now. I don't think I'd want to live in the Matrix.
I honestly thought you were going to go with the other one because I agree with you.
Yeah, it's a sense of knowing that value things aren't real. See if we are in the Matrix right now, it's entirely possible. Well, I say entirely possible. It's improbable, but we could be in the Matrix. We could be. I mean, obviously the whole kind of idea of the film was nobody
if you
knew.
think about theoretical physics, that is a concept. So if it's a concept that's debated by the brightest minds on our planet, then there's no reason us saying it makes it sound stupid.
I mean, like
infinitesimal.
Yeah.
In relation.
I mean, it then comes into kind of what. See if we were in the Matrix and they didn't know we're in the Matrix, but say for example I had the powers that Neo had, then I'd probably see the Matrix then, because then I would know. Oh yes, I can bend stuff.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's the possibility. You know you're in the Matrix.
Yeah. But it's more the knowing
and
the
you
stuff
know
outside.
that you're not in reality, and when you're living in reality, you're aware that you're not in the Matrix. You can, if you wanted to have the powers of Neo, you can have the powers of Neo. You're aware of how to bend the rules. You're aware of the laws of the Matrix. That's the question.
Yeah. I think I'd still be here and now.
Yeah.
I think it's just the thought of the fact that the reality, technically speaking, isn't real, just isn't appealing to me.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, just doesn't appeal to me, that side. So, yeah, it'd be the here and now. At the end of the day. Yes, I don't have the powers of Neo, but I like what I've made for myself. So, I'm
you like the fact that you know that everything you have, like you've there's something personal there. That's real. That's a real connection.
Yeah, I feel like the Matrix in many ways it'd be just like going creative mode on Minecraft.
It's a nulling agent.
Yeah, it's like if you like, I know this weird example or comparison, but say for example I started going on Minecraft when I'm creative and built myself a house. I've cheated to build that house.
Yeah.
I haven't gathered the supplies. It hasn't really been earned. I'm just using cheat codes. Or if you go on GTA San Andreas and you spawn yourself a jet, you've cheated for that. Is. That's what it's whether or not it's how much you like shortcuts, really.
That goes into the aspect of why I would choose to live in reality, because life can suck. Like we've had some recent bad news. Life can really suck, but life is beautiful as well because you know everything. You know that everything that you have a connection with is real. You know that someday everything might stop. Things are beautiful because they don't last. Like that is where beauty comes from. We have no control over anything but ourselves. There's an aspect you can have that in the Matrix, but it's not real. There's no real connections there. Everything is a virtual world where we have the chance to actually. If you look at this from a mythological point of view, like there was always the debate that the gods envied humanity, like whether it be the Norse pantheon, Greek, Roman, Christianity, blah blah blah. There was always the theory that the gods envied mortals because everything just seems so much brighter, so much sweeter, because you know that someday you're not going to be here anymore. And you can just take solace in the moment, that priceless moment, that time is a commodity that you will never get back. It's the only currency that has a finite amount. You have to choose how you want to spend that, and that is the beauty of life. The Matrix is not real.
Aye, absolutely. Right, team. On that note, I think it's time to end the podcast. Thanks again, Remy, for obviously joining me again.
Always happy to be here.
Obviously, team, we were also using a slightly different software, so if something seems a bit off with this podcast, I have tried every avenue to fix it. But listen, there's always going to be TV problems when we try something new. So for those that don't want to know, or curious about their own podcast, we're doing using Riverside to record this. So if there's any issues with this, the issue with that software. But yes, team, thank you very much for listening and for watching the podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed. And if you are listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music, Yanans TV, make sure that you are following the podcast as well, because it all helps out massively. And all that. And also check out the other socials as well. They'll all be listed in the description. But all that, team, thank you so much again for tuning in. Adios.
Bye.